Sarah stood in the dark art gallery, gripping a can of black paint in trembling hands. In front of her stood her best friend's masterpiece. One step closer, and she could destroy everything Clara had worked for. But the real question was, how did jealousy turn friendship into something so dangerous? In the small town of Oakville, Sarah and Clara were inseparable. They grew up together, laughing, painting side by side, and dreaming of becoming artists. As children, they shared everything: paintbrushes, ideas, and even their biggest dreams. But as they grew older, something began to change. People admired Clara. She had a natural gift, and everything she painted seemed effortless, bright, beautiful, unforgettable. Sarah was talented too, but while Clara painted simply because she loved it, Sarah spent countless late nights practicing, chasing perfection with every brushstroke. No matter how hard Sarah worked, people always seemed to notice Clara first. At first, Sarah ignored the feeling. She told herself it didn't matter. But little by little, comparison crept into her heart like a shadow. Whenever people praised Clara, Sarah felt something heavy growing inside her. Why did everything come so easily for her? Then came the annual Oakville Art Competition. To Sarah, this wasn't just another contest. This was her chance, her moment to finally prove that all her hard work meant something. For weeks, she poured everything she had into her painting, carefully perfecting every tiny detail. Finally, competition day arrived. The gallery buzzed with excitement as judges slowly examined each piece of art. The room grew silent when the winner was announced. It was Clara. The crowd burst into applause. Sarah smiled on the outside, but inside, something cracked. She wanted to be happy for her best friend, but jealousy had already planted itself deep inside her heart. Days turned into weeks, and the feeling only grew stronger. Sarah stopped returning Clara's calls. She pulled away from their friendship. When people praised Clara's success, Sarah quietly spread bitter rumors, convincing herself that maybe Clara had just gotten lucky. Maybe the judges had been unfair. But no matter what Sarah said, Clara continued to shine. Then came the town's annual charity art auction. Both girls donated paintings, and Sarah secretly hoped this would finally be her moment. Her painting sold for a good price, and for a brief second, she felt proud again. But then, Clara's painting was revealed. A wealthy collector stood silently, staring at it for what felt like forever. Then, suddenly, he offered 10 times more than Sarah's painting had sold for. The crowd gasped. People surrounded Clara once again, celebrating her success, and Sarah stood there alone, invisible. That night, jealousy finally took control. Sarah quietly slipped into the gallery after everyone had gone home. The hall was dark and silent. As she stood in front of Clara's painting, black paint clutched tightly in her hand. One splash, she thought. One splash, and all of this would disappear. Slowly, she raised her hand, but then she froze. The painting wasn't just beautiful scenery. It was a memory. A painting of the two of them as children, laughing together under the summer sun, covered in paint, smiling without worry. In that moment, Sarah remembered something jealousy had made her forget. Clara had always supported her, cheered for her, believed in her. And suddenly, the truth hit harder than any failure ever could. Jealousy had not stolen Clara's happiness. It had stolen Sarah's peace. The paint slipped from her hand as tears filled her eyes. At that exact moment, footsteps echoed behind her. It was Clara. Sarah braced for anger, disappointment, maybe even hatred. But instead, Clara simply walked over and hugged her. And in that moment, Sarah broke down. She confessed everything. The jealousy, the bitterness, the rumors, and the pain she had hidden for so long. To Sarah's surprise, Clara forgave her. Because real friendship was never about competition. It was about lifting each other up. From that day on, Sarah stopped comparing herself to others. Instead of trying to outshine someone else, she focused on becoming better than she was the day before, because she finally understood something important. Jealousy doesn't hurt the person you envy first, it poisons the one who carries it.